I was in contact with an old friend through the wonders of social media last week. She's a friend from back east who frequently hosts the extended family Thanksgiving dinner. She says that every year someone, habitually one of the usual suspects, each with their own opinions and their own nefarious way, drops a pile of political poop on her nicely set dining table. She says it goes downhill from there. Donna thought of canceling Thanksgiving completely. There's an enormous amount of work to put this meal on, and so she emailed her family asking for their opinions, and they responded, as they do at the Thanksgiving table, with very strong thoughts. The dinner must go on. It was too late to cancel. So she borrowed a small podium, and she says she's going to place it at her front door. And on it will be a pen and a resolution done in the best calligraphy she can creatively muster, declaring that all ye who enter into this house and partake of this Thanksgiving meal shall by their signature here refrain from bringing up the election and politics of any sort. And Donna doesn't have high hopes that this will work all by itself. And so she wrote that she has made plans to buy a small air horn and keep it in her apron pocket. And I'm paraphrasing her here, but she said words to the effect, one good, unexpected blast of an air horn coming from an aproned, late middle-aged lady sitting at the head of the table who looks like she has steam coming from her ears ought to have some effect on someone. And she said, if it doesn't, I can always make it go off a second or a third time, if necessary. Well, I wish her and her family a happy Thanksgiving. It would be an invitation we would decline if offered. And I'm thinking that maybe after the holidays, I might get back in touch and say, hey, Donna, I was thinking after everything was over about your last big dinner you were planning, and you know, you've been taking care of people for so long now. Have you considered that it might be someone else's turn to take care of you on Thanksgiving? Or who knows, she might convince some people to pack an air horn at the holidays. I've been listening to people like Donna this week. I've sat in a clergy gathering luncheon as we shared some stories of people we've been talking to. Donna is not alone in feeling anxious, angry, sad, happily surprised, or even victorious. My colleagues have reported on a kind of free-floating anxiety that has brought out anger or tears, repercussions of many sorts, in their neighborhoods, their communities around them, and in their church. And at a church not far from here, I heard this story. The coffee hour host last Sunday was the only person in the congregation who voted red in her church of blue. And so she came in that morning, she set up the coffee hour, she put out the food for these people that she loved, and she went home because she did not think she would be welcomed on that day. These are some of the things we need to work together on with some love and understanding. Today's scripture is Paul at his best. It's full of soaring phrases that call on us to bring our best. And bringing our best is what is most needed these days, in all days, to be sure. This week's IUCC Sermon Seeds tells us that the letter is full of love, but also joy. Make my joy complete, Paul writes, be of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord and of one mind. And this week's passage describes what that might look like, how to achieve such unity, beginning with the encouragement to stand firm, to be reconciled, and to do it when we disagree, and always, always, always in our lives to remember to rejoice. The powerful theme runs through Scripture: don't be afraid, don't worry. God is with us close at hand. Even, when the angels first appear, their first words are, "Fear not." Concentrate, Paul says, on the very best things: what is true, what is honorable, what is just, what is pure, what is pleasing, what is commendable, excellent, praiseworthy things. Keep up the good works, he says. Keep the faith. Eugene Peterson, calls the letter to the Philippians Paul's happiest letter. And the happiness, he says, is infectious. But here's the irony beneath that claim. Paul is writing this letter from a prison cell in Ephesus as he may face death for preaching the gospel and for disrupting the empire and its values. And remembering that Paul writes from a prison cell may affect how we hear his words as he encourages his little flock there in the shared life of faith. The word he uses to apply just as well to churches today, especially if they are feeling small and overpowered by the various forms of empire around them. They're pressured by a culture that preaches a very different message from the gospel, discouraged by a culture that is confused about what it means today to be followers of Jesus. And that description, I think, could fit many of us and many of our churches at one time or another. Paul writes words that are both stirring and gentle. He says, "Rejoice, do not worry about anything. Pray. The peace of God will guard your hearts. Keep on doing the things that you have learned. Keep on doing the things you've received." And then there's the German mystic Meister Eckhart, who is reputed to have said that if the only prayer you make is "thank you," that will suffice. Thanksgiving is the virtue of interdependence, the recognition that our achievements are not fully our own, but that they emerge from a network of relationships that sustain us, shape us, give us the materials from which we create the experiences moment by moment, our own experiences. And process theologian Bruce Epperly said that Thanksgiving as a spiritual practice reminds us that all our gifts are communal, as well as individual. Our creativity, our freedom, our ability to choose the good and the noble have their origins in forces larger than ourselves. Creator, this good earth, the persons who have guided and protected and inspired and nurtured us, including people we've never met. Epperly writes, Thanksgiving is the virtue of abundance. It looks at life in terms of possibility. It imagines a meal for a multitude in 5 loaves and 2 fish. It visualizes a few civil rights marchers taking their first steps to equal protection for all Americans. It believes that pausing a moment to reach out just at the right time can transform people's souls and their lives. And as the adage goes, even when we didn't have money, we weren't poor. We were abundant in dreams and love and relationships. And as chaos theory notes, the flapping of a butterfly's wings can influence weather across the country, and so can acts of generosity gratefully done over and over again. One of my favorite Thanksgivings, I'm going to call this a Thanksgiving story. It's Carl's story I'm telling you today. He had one of those teachers that, we've all had, that person who really helped nurture you and move you forward. And she might be heard to say sometimes, "You're in my prayers." Well, we all say that. You're in my prayers. Oh, you're in my prayers. But one day, the lady, when asked, what does that mean, opened up about her prayer life. She revealed that at that moment, there were over 200 individual people on her list, as well as situations, and that every night she prayed the names or the situations and fell asleep praying. What does it do to someone's life to fall asleep praying? She lived in a state of gratitude, and she reflected it back by bringing others with her into her prayer life. Dr. Pendergast. What a meditation to carry through a lifetime. Her simple practice of thanksgiving shaped how she lived her life, how she faced aging, and how she related to others. What are the challenges that you've been thinking about lately on your own? What are those challenges? What are the challenges we face together and the questions that arise about being the church that God is calling us to be in this particular time and the direction of the life we share as a community of faith? What are the things that you find here that are true and honorable and just and pure or pleasing and commendable? The things we think about together. And if you care to join us today after the coffee hour, some of us are in still a processing mode of what's happened in our country recently. We'll be over in Plummer Hall. Others are looking down the road at how our values and our actions will serve this community in the months and the years ahead. And I know our long-range planners will be there just to hear what people are thinking and saying. So what are the moments when you could feel the spirit of peace in your midst, in both recent history and the shared story of your congregation? How can you tap into that source as a piece of peace, as a means of hearing that still speaking God's voice, still speaking to us today through these words of Paul that are addressed to a small countercultural church long ago? Epperly says, yes, if the only prayer you make is thank you, that will be enough. And thank you can be said over and over and over again, not only for the blessings of this day, but to everyone whose life touches yours in some creative way. And such gratitude opens us up to new blessings, but more importantly, it opens our hands up to bless others through a kind word, as well as our time and our talent and our treasure. Late United Nations Secretary General Dag Hammarskjöld said, "For all that has been, thanks. For all that will be, yes." Don't forget to join us this Tuesday night at 7:30. We'll gather with our synagogue for a very special, some say our favorite service of the year at 7:30. And I hope you all, air horn or no air horn, have a very happy Thanksgiving.